welcome back to Citywide Bytes. Let's face it, folks, the ocean is a damn nightmare. And our next guest gives us one more reason to stay on shore. Joining us is Julie Hiner for her new book, Fear of the Deep, out through Torrid Waters, an imprint of Crystal Lake Publishing. Julie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. To start things off, give us a quick run through as to what this book is all about.
Well, it was based on my own really big fear of the deep, unknown water and my love for a movie called Jaws that everybody knows. And I guess I just really had a strong desire to write my own deep sea, but I didn't want to just do another shark because, as we know, it has been done many, many, many times. So I wanted something a
Mm-hmm.
little different, a little more scientific.
All right. So your book features your main character Bailey, who has gone through a pretty tragic experience involving the ocean. These days, kind of stays away as much as she can. Um, Without getting too spoilery, what is it that Bailey went through, and kind of how has this affected her as a person?
Right. So I right away it is mentioned even in the little blurb that she does have a fear of going past the wake and getting too deep based on something that did happen. And so we allude to that right away and then slowly explain it as the story goes on. Thing is, she's a lifeguard. So, and she loved to surf before this accident happened. So she's struggling with wanting to go back to surfing and also with her job, which at times will force her to have to face that fear.
How does she face it? I mean, like, given what she went through, how does she sort of like reconcile her like very real fear of the ocean with the fact that this is what she does for a living?
Yeah. Well, it gets to the point where her job forces her to go further out than she wants to, and I won't ruin the surprise as to why. But then, basically, what's going on? Like they know something's in this water. These bodies are washing ashore, and based on like the bite marks and the smell and things like that, this is very familiar to her, and she knows this has to do with the previous accident. So it gets to the point where she's just so curious and has to find out what's in the water and is it the thing that she encountered previously.
Oh boy! All right, we will dive into the monster in just a little bit, folks. But I want to talk a bit about Bailey's creation. What went into making her as a character?
Well, this is set in San Diego in the mid '80s, and I love San Diego. I've lived in the areas of Mission Beach and Pacific Beach that I used, and I'm a big metal music rock fan, and so of course she is, and she hangs out at 720, which is a place that is still there. Back when I was there, it was a dive, and it was really cool and lots of live music. Now it's nicer. They redid it, so it kind of lost some appeal, but they still have a lot of live music there. So I guess her love for the ocean is not my love for the. I like to be near the ocean and it's calming, but I am scared of being in there. So I guess some of her fear came from that, and then her love for music came from that. And the setting just, I just thought it was perfect because that sort of mid '80s scene for like a creature feature to me is just really perfect.
Oh yeah. So it really sounds like this book is you, more or less, like your experiences, your persona. Do you think that made it a lot easier to like write the book than if you just wanted the more like regular character that had nothing to do with you?
Yeah, I think so because, excuse me, I know what it feels like to be at the lip of the stage watching the rock star and thinking how cool this is and your emotional reaction. I know how it feels to be walking along that boardwalk and smelling the air and hearing the waves. I think for me, I do use, excuse me, settings that I have been to a lot because I feel like I can really describe it and put somebody there. And I do use a lot of my own experiences because the sight, the smell, the feel, I just feel like if you've really experienced that, you can really put it so much better on the page.
Oh yeah. I also grew up near the ocean, just the other side of the country,
Yeah.
and that feeling of standing on the beach, hearing the waves crashing, smelling the salt in the air, especially if it's a nice
Yeah.
quiet day, you hear the gulls and everything. It's hard to really it's hard to really describe in words, but it is just a feeling. It's like an atmosphere. And for me, the atmosphere is usually this is a very deep, dark place, and we have no idea what's down there, really. We know some things, but not everything.
We know very little, I think. And that's
Yeah.
partly why it's so terrifying to me.
Yeah, and definitely why we've seen so many different movies and books and comics over the years that explore just what else is down there, because
Yeah.
like you said, what we know is a fraction. Asking that, did you was your work really inspired by like other books, movies? Did you kind of like look at other things and think, huh, that's a really cool idea?
Yeah, I did watch. I mean, I've always loved deep sea horror, and so but during the process of this book, I did watch a lot to remind myself of, excuse me, why when you're out there and you're alone and you don't know what's in there, how do other books and movies portray that fear for that person? So that really helped me. As for like the actual creature, I did my own research as to what's at the bottom, which is terrifying in itself. So I didn't really take a specific creature from any other book or movie I'd seen, but the idea of something that is based on a species but has morphed into something else. I mean, that's been done, and I used that idea.
Oh, I love the monster talk because the ideas I see in different things is so cool and inspired. When it came to creating this monster, and again, no spoilers, folks. You got to read the book and see for yourself what it's all about. Did you go through a lot of iterations? Did this thing go through a lot of changes before you said, "Yep, there we go"?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet, and I had lots of different species that I watched videos on, and I researched like how can something mutate, how can it morph, how, and I researched cross fertilization, and so I did base it on things that can actually happen, but of course I morphed it a little to be in the fictional world as well. Yeah, and it's
Ooh.
funny because like 2 days after this was launched. There was a particular species called an anglerfish that was seen near the surface in Spain. They got it on video, which was exactly what my idea was, like if something could come from deep down and actually make it to the top. Now this thing died in reality, in my book it can live, and I explain why it can live, so I morphed that a bit, of course.
Oh my God, I love that. So like you have like your idea, you watch it, you think,
Yeah,
oh, that thing's real.
I know.
Whoops.
I know, right?
Oh man, it's kind of like watching the movie The Meg. You think, oh,
Oh
fun
yeah,
little fiction movie. Then you look at any kind of science book and realize, oh, that thing actually existed.
yeah,
Crap.
yeah, I know, right? It's terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. For this kind of book, how do you pace it so that the readers kind of engage and kind of stay hooked throughout?
Well, I like to, and I guess it's kind of based on what I like to read. I like to have something fairly scary happy right away, or sorry, fairly scary happen right away in the first scene, so that people are like, "Oh, something's going on." Like if you think about opener for Jaws, right away we know there's a shark out there and he's killing people. But then I do like to take a little bit of time to get the person in the character's head and show what her world is like and what her day is like. But by the end of that first morning or afternoon, something else has already happened. Because I think in this kind of genre, you need some things to be happening really regularly. And for me, I also like the pace to speed up as we go through the book and get fairly intense near the end, because that holds me. So I'm guessing, like, I think that would hold other readers.
Oh yeah. Now, was this book a new experience for you? Because I know that you've written a lot of different books over the years. You are far from a debut writer.
Yeah, it was actually really exciting because I have self-published all my other books, and I took time choosing that route for those books because I wanted to learn all parts of the process, and I really had a clear vision for what I wanted to do. And so I did that. As I was going through this process over the years and writing more books, of course, I meet other people, other authors, start to meet people that are small to medium publishers, and start following, including Crystal Lake, and watching how do they treat their authors and what kind of books are they publishing. And I realized a lot of the authors I like to read do have books with Crystal Lake, and from what I knew, the experience of working them was really great, and it was. So I really was thrilled that when there was an open call right when I was doing this book, that was the topic was perfect. And so I submitted it thinking, okay, they'll either like it or they won't, but I'll learn about this process. And it was a match. And working with Kenneth and with Joe was just amazing. They really include the author in the process. You don't lose, you're not like way far away from it. You're still really close with what's going on. And just, it was just so much fun to see somebody else do all this work and bring this book to life and see how they did it. And I really, really, yeah, I loved the process.
Oh yeah, and we featured a number of Crystal Lake writers on the show over the years, and they work with some just absolutely amazing talent. And I have not missed the irony that your book, Fear of the Deep, is out through Torrid Waters. So nice little
Yes, I
synergy
know.
there.
Yeah,
It's
I
good for
know,
like the
right?
marketing process, right?
Yeah.
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 Um, how was release day for you? Because I know that this book has been on for like a little while. How was it to get it like in your hands? Like, okay, guys, it's ready.
Yeah, it was really cool. I recently got my paperback copies, and I mean, I'm a reader, so I love the touch and the smell and the feel of a book. And even though I'd seen the cover and everything, online or on graphics, to actually see it and see how pretty it was. Yeah, I always love getting a box of books and opening them and see how it turned out.
All right. Is there a favorite scene in this book? One that you just really enjoyed writing or you think really just stands out?
Yeah, there's several, but I'll pick one where she is in this place called the Wave House, and it isn't there anymore. But it was really cool because they actually had simulated waves so that people could come and practice surfing, and a lot of like competitive people would do that, but also people that just were learning. So she's in there, she's with her friends, and of course, she's there because she's too afraid to go surf in the ocean. And then she's in such the habit of going to these live shows and doing her thing and taking the lead man for a ride after nice after party, and just no emotion, not getting attached to anything or any people. And then the singer that's part of the story walks in with his band, clearly doesn't belong there. And right away there's like this emotional connection that now she's thinking, oh man, I'm having these feelings I haven't had since the accident. And so it just really makes her vulnerable and really opens her up. So I really like that scene for sure.
Okay. One thing I always love to ask is just over the course of the writing process, did your A version of the book really change a lot before you were done?
Yeah, yeah. Think like I often like to know where it's going. Meaning like is the art going to be happy or sad, or generally what's going to happen to this character. Sometimes I do change the details of how they do whatever it is they need to do at the end, but I generally like to know where it's going. I also like to know kind of the beginning, the middle, those points. But all of the details, I mean, I can wake up and have an idea and write a scene that I didn't think was going to be in there. And so I will go with the flow to make the rest of the story work if I think it's a really powerful scene.
Okay. Now, I always love talking about cover art because the old saying is "Don't judge a book by its cover," but the cover really is what gets you there. Your cover is creepy as hell.
Oh,
This is a
thank you.
very,
Yeah.
very terrifying cover. My co-host Curtis and I were looking at it thinking, "Geez, that's really unsettling." Who
Well,
did
this
this?
is
How
good.
did?
Kenneth Kane from Torrid Waters. He
Yeah.
did yeah, and he's so great because we went through a process of like looking at images together and picking out things that like would portray the story. And I was pretty keen on having some kind of deep sea fish with the fangs and all that. And yeah, he ended up really coming up with most of what's there based on our discussions. And he actually did add there's like 3 bite marks in the top right corner, and he added that because there's 3 bite marks in all the bodies and it's like the same bite. And so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, it's primarily him, and I thought he did a stellar job.
Oh my God, definitely, definitely. All right. I want to talk a little bit more about the story. After this body washes up on the shore, Bailey's kind of dragged in this mystery with this creature, which is as it says in the book, a nightmare born of genetic engineering gone awry, which is a great description for this thing. How does Bailey handle it? How does Bailey handle being drawn into not only this place where she does not want to go, but also being kind of like sort of taking on the creature?
Yeah. So, I mean, at first, she doesn't want to be involved at all. But as the bodies continue to wash up in different places and the similarities to the accident are just so obvious. She and also she doesn't feel like enough is being done about this to figure out what's doing this. She gets to a point where she'd rather deal with it than ignore her fear. But at first, she does not deal with it well. She goes out and drinks, goes to a concert, tries to forget what's going on because she doesn't want to face it.
All right. Do you feel like this is a one-off for you, or do you think that there'll be more like creature horror books in your future?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was so much fun to write, and being such a lover of that genre, never writing it before, definitely. I don't have any specific ideas at the moment, but I could see that being something I'd love to do. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, folks, we are bringing this conversation to a close, but of course, we are going to end with a big question. What is next for you?
Actually, I'm launching. So I have a heavy metal murder series, and I'm just launching the last book in the series. It's called Torture Track. So they're all track. They're final track, acid track, yada yada. And they're a total fusion of music and story, and they're a deep dive into the serial killer and the detective mind. And this being the last one, it is the craziest, bloodiest, goriest, and it's basically Iron Maiden torture meets Iron Maiden power metal. And I have a soundtrack. So being a music lover, I've actually built a community over the years and been able to work with. I write the lyrics. The band that I work with does the music, and I have a producer locally, and we work as a team. And they're going to be playing at the launch party on Wednesday, so I'm pretty excited about it. It was really my vision for like 8 years, and it's finally like fully there. So it should be pretty cool. I
Wow.
hope. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, Julie Hiner, thank you so much for joining me. If folks at home want to learn more about you, check out the works. Where do they go?
Killersanddemons.com.
That's a great website name. I love that one. All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, Julie, thank you again, once again. A lot of fun talking about this book.
Thank you so much for having me. What a delight.